At the dinner party, everyone was chatting happily together. I quietly sipped my soup on the side, listening to them talk about topics I just couldn't fit into. They were speaking in French right in front of me, the so-called official boyfriend, wishing Harvey and Laura well and asking about their wedding plans. I glanced over at Laura. She wore a polite smile, neither confirming nor denying anything being said. To fit in with their group, I secretly learned 4 commonly spoken languages. But still, I found myself the odd one out. This group of PhDs and professors who studied abroad looked down on me, a community college graduate. I stepped away from the table and dialed a number. "Brother, I'm willing to go for the family-arranged dates." After saying goodbye to my brother, I took a red-eye flight back to City A. At 2 a.m., Laura still hadn't returned. A news notification popped up on my phone. Domestic entrepreneur Ken dies. Half of his estate will be donated to charity. The comments mourned the loss of this charitable businessman. Thinking back to the last time I saw my father, my eyes welled up with tears. I was too late when I arrived at the hospital. My father's heart had always been weak, and he hid it from everyone, too proud to show vulnerability. My brother's eyes carried a mix of sadness and guilt. "He regrets not seeing you one last time, or seeing you settle down. I know you're in a tough spot, but this has always been a family tradition. Father said you had the most talent. It's a shame you chose to leave town back then, but now you're the only one who can. Gary, think it over," he urged. Dad had 2 wishes, for me to lead the family business and to see me get married. I pleaded with Laura, wanting her to come home with me to give my dad some peace. "Laura, just this once. Can you?" But she grabbed her coat and left in a rush. "Gary, there's a limit to acting foolish," she snapped. "Harvey's drunk. It's freezing out there, and being alone isn't safe for him." She shook off my hand and slammed the door. But Harvey wasn't alone. He had Johnny, their lifelong friend. Later, I saw Johnny's social media post. "Love that shows up after all these years makes us single folks envious." That was the moment I stopped trying to kid myself and let go for good. I booked a flight back, started packing at home. I heard the door open, and in walked Laura in a black leather skirt. "Back already?" I asked. "Why aren't you asleep?" She squinted at me groggily, but didn't question further after I made up an excuse. "I'm just packing some stuff to send back." I lied. She nodded. "It's late. Get some rest." "I'll finish packing later," I told her. Today I was unusually quiet. Laura seemed puzzled by my calmness. A hasty ring broke the silence. On the other end, Harvey was slurring his words in a drunken stupor. "Laura, can you come over?" "I feel like I can't hold on," he pleaded. "You just lie down and relax. I'm here. Don't be afraid." She comforted him, her voice gentle in a way I'd never heard before. "Harvey's depressed and drunk. You know he needs someone around in case." She started, but I nodded and interrupted. "I know." Laura froze, instinctively pulling her sleeve down to hide the scars on her wrist. Of course, I knew. When her depression was at its worst, I was the one who helped her through it. "You said before you wanted me to go home with you. I might be free after things settle down," she said, seeing my unusual calmness and feeling uneasy herself. "And I'm planning to announce you to my friends," she added. I nodded, though I'd waited for Laura to go public with our relationship. But why now? Just as I was planning to leave. It was time to clear things up, to put a period on these undefined years. "Gary, why are you dressed like that?" she asked as I got ready to go. "Is there anything wrong with it?" I replied coolly. "No, the suit looks great on you." Laura stammered, disoriented. In front of them, I always wore a white t-shirt, keeping things simple yet elegant. Laura always thought it was tasteful and poised. Today, however, I wore a tailored suit and had even styled my hair. Laura's eyes showed a hint of apology. "Likely from staying with Harvey all night and only returning this morning. You look nice in that suit. Maybe buy a few more when you get back." I replied nonchalantly. For some reason, Laura sensed a change. Silence hung thick in the air. Harvey and his friends were waiting outside a private room, grinning as Laura approached. With a rare reunion, chatter flourished. The conversation shifted from cultural techniques to expressing feelings, to Laura's affection for Harvey. Laura's waited for you all these years. Everyone knows you two were the perfect couple back then, Johnny teased Laura, a playful smirk in his eyes. Laura and you are the real deal, he continued. Laura already has a boyfriend. It's too late, someone interjected. It's never too late. We all know Laura's heart is with you. That guy she's with now, he's nothing, said Johnny. Johnny, isn't that a bit harsh? Someone else murmured. Everyone knows Laura loved Harvey the most. And if Gary hadn't stepped in back then, they'd have been back together. Laura hasn't forgotten Harvey. Gary was just a stand-in. Watch, Gary will look like a knockoff Harvey with how he dresses and acts. It's embarrassing. But as I walked in, everyone stopped in their tracks. The boy in front of me had an extraordinary aura mixed with a touch of brightness, so different from the elegance and grace of Harvey. The atmosphere got a bit awkward. As I watched everyone in a daze, I greeted them confidently. Someone mumbled, "This isn't what I expected." Harvey, seeing Laura, walked over with a smile. "Laura, congratulations. You've won the top prize again this time. Want to introduce your work to us?" He automatically ignored me, chatting and laughing with Laura and the group. Laura joyfully talked about the inspiration behind her paintings and her experiences over the years. Harvey seamlessly kept the conversation going with her. Their rapport was like the perfect harmony of a beautiful melody. "Quite the couple, huh?" Suddenly, Johnny asked in French, "When are you two getting married?" Everyone turned to look at me, knowingly chatting in French. Harvey replied to the well wishes in French too. I looked to the side at Laura. She didn't deny it. I sighed and got up to leave. Johnny looked at me with a hint of disdain. How could someone from a tech college understand French? What they didn't know was, over the years, I taught myself 4 languages to try and get closer to her and fit into her world. Basic conversation wasn't hard for me. Listening to laughter coming from the private room, I dialed on my phone. "Hey, brother. I'm willing to come back to take over everything Dad left." "Gary, I'm glad to hear that. Mom and I both hoped you'd come back. You've always been Dad's pride. No matter what, we just want you to be happy." My brother's voice was filled with joy. At least I finally came around. However, I'll need a month to wrap things up here. "Is your girlfriend coming back with you?" Sensing something in my tone, my brother suddenly asked. Hearing him mention Laura, I felt a momentary daze. "Brother, I'm planning to break up with her. I intend to carry on Dad's legacy and make it thrive in our generation." My brother sighed. "Gary, all this time she wouldn't go home with you. She didn't even join you to see Dad one last time. It's better to let her go. I'll help find someone better for you later." "Thanks, bro. I'm really touched. Family will always be my harbor." Laura noticed my empty seat and felt a wave of panic for some reason. "What's up with Gary?" Since his recent trip back home, he hasn't clung to her or stirred up any trouble. His quietness somehow unsettled her more than when he was noisy. Laura sipped her drink one after another. When I returned to the private room, I found her drunk. I tried to help her, but she pushed me away. "I don't want to go home." "Harvey, why did you leave me?" "Harvey, don't go." The crowd knowingly turned their heads away, awkwardly touching their noses. Laura looked like an abandoned puppy, her eyes glistening. Everyone felt uncomfortable, glancing away and touching their noses. Harvey looked at me with a victorious gleam in his eyes. He acted apologetic and awkward. "Gary, sorry about this. Laura's like this." "Then you're welcome to handle it." I graciously left Laura to him. "Gary, are you even a man?" Johnny glared at me with anger. My casual attitude towards Laura for some reason upset him. "Aren't you a good brother?" I calmly watched Laura clinging to Harvey and turned away without hesitation. Back home, I packed my things. Anything linked to me was swiftly erased from this place. After hesitating for a while, I opened that art studio. Countless sketches of backs filled the room. I sighed, sat at the drawing board, and took out those old sketches marked by time. This sketch was something I quickly drew when I first met Laura and accidentally left behind. Later, she picked it up and took it home, becoming her source of inspiration. I added the final strokes, bringing color to the unfinished painting from back then. Laura didn't come back all night. I didn't call her again and went to the studio by myself instead. Gary, are you really leaving us? My colleagues surrounded me, reluctant to part. I built this design studio from scratch. Now that it's finally thriving, I'm leaving. You all can stand on your own now. Don't waste the things I left behind. You little rascal, leaving just like that. So heartless. Though Mike scolded, his eyes showed genuine concern. He, of course, knew how much his brother had invested in this love. Back when genius artist Laura got caught up in a plagiarism scandal and lost her soulmate, it was me who helped her out of the shadows bit by bit. When Laura fell into depression, I stayed by her side constantly, accompanying her through everything. In my spare time, I went back and forth just to ensure she ate and didn't harm herself. To clear Laura's name, I investigated the truth, sparing no effort or expense, even paved road after road for her. To protect her ego, I used another identity, Jason, to secretly buy Laura's paintings, blending them into fashion designs. This helped Laura regain her confidence. Did you hear? At May's showcase, they released their latest collection of dresses. The most talked about is the wedding dress designed by the rising star designer Harvey. In our industry, aside from Jason, only Harvey's designs are so distinctive. I heard the patterns on that dress were hand-drawn by the talented artist Laura bit by bit. So romantic, a mutual pursuit of love. But didn't they break up a long time ago? Laura still has a boyfriend. Isn't a reunion even better? They're a perfect match, talented and attractive. So, what if she has a boyfriend? Love is a game for the brave. Besides, Harvey and Laura knew each other first. Love should be a level playing field, and that guy doesn't deserve her at all. Love should be about mutual growth. But that community college dude is just going to drag Laura down like a weed. I heard a bunch of girls chattering, flipping through fashion magazines with giggles. Mike looked pale. This was just absurd logic, wasn't it? Don't sweat it. I whispered while holding him back as he was about to start arguing. I shook my head. When we walked out of the cafe, Mike still seemed pretty upset. I don't want to be part of this relationship anymore. I sighed. But you've done so much for her, Gary. You've already gone 99 steps for her. Are you really going to give up now? Mike knew me too well, like a good brother would. I nodded, a determined look in my eyes. I don't want to wait any longer. Laura won't take a step towards me. Even if I move towards her, she'll just run to someone else. When you're on the wrong path, you need to change course in time. If one day you're standing next to Laura or even above her, and she regrets it and comes running back to you, would you turn back? Mike asked. I shook my head. People don't just stay in one place. While packing my things, at my apartment door appeared an unexpected guest. I recognized him. It was Nick, Laura's brother. He looked at me with deep disdain. I'm not going to come in, he said. I just wanted to let you know our family only accepts Harvey as my sister's partner. Laura and you don't think the same way. Since forever, both our families have dedicated themselves to their own ideals. You can't join a circle that doesn't want you. Best not to force it. I gave Nick a faint smile. Oh, really? Then why did Harvey leave her in the first place? Was it because of some lack of soul connection? In any case, Nick continued, let's keep things diplomatic between us. My sister's confused. I hope you'll be the sensible one who knows when to back off. Anyway, I've got a discussion about ancient cultural rituals to get to, so I'll stop here. He turned to leave. I watched him walk away, a hint of sarcasm in my gaze. When Laura struggled with depression before, it was Nick who earnestly told me, Gary, she's fragile right now. I trust her with you. And now he wants me to keep it respectful. Later that night, when Laura came back, I noticed she had on new clothes. I recognized it. It was the latest couple's outfit from May, designed by Harvey himself. Laura noticed my gaze and explained, I spilled something, and the only other clothes at Harvey's place that fit were these. Don't worry, nothing happened. She reassured me. Johnny was even there too. I just smiled. Johnny was the #1 shipper of Harvey and Laura. Laura sheepishly raised the cake in her hand. Tomorrow's our anniversary. I bought your favorite mango cake. I looked at the melting cake, dazed. Sorry, it got a little melted, she said, frustrated. She'd forgotten to put it in the fridge because of giving Harvey his medicine. It's okay. You can still make a wish. I shook my head, Laura. I'm allergic to mangoes. Remember? And it's already spoiled. Just toss it. Get some rest. As I turned away, I saw Laura's anxious expression. It seemed like she'd made up her mind as she grabbed my hand. Gary, would you come home with me tomorrow to meet my family properly? She asked. I wanted to tell her I was leaving. After what Nick had said today, what exactly were these siblings up to? Maybe I should just come clean tomorrow, to avoid any confusion that could lead to misunderstandings. Gary, you seem different lately, said Laura on the drive, giving me a look I couldn't quite place. I avoided her gaze, focusing instead on the view outside. This place was famous as a cultural hub, full of the spirit of scholars and poets. I heard Laura was bringing her boyfriend home today, so her mother invited me along to observe. Laura won't mind, right? Harvey, charming an older woman into laughter, said, after all, we're family. Nick looked at me with a meaningful expression. They're family. I was the outsider. Inside the house, Harvey was deep into conversations I couldn't follow. They talked about the past and present, quoting classics, earning praises from the older gentleman. I calmly sipped my tea, the invisible person off to the side. Harvey, take Gary out to the garden. Laura's mother said, looking at Harvey with disdain. Sure, Aunt, he replied. I got the hint they wanted me out of their hair and stepped out. Gary, let's talk, started Harvey. We appreciate everything you've done for Laura, but as you can see, they want me as their son-in-law. It's all about matching backgrounds, cultural refinement, and status. I expect you're smart enough to take the hint and do what's best for you. Squinting at him, I retorted, matching backgrounds? You all decide for Laura, without even asking her choice. Does she get a say in this? It wouldn't matter. There's only one answer. Gary, Harvey replied, looking at me with a knowing smile. I can fund an overseas education for you, help you become an elite and fit into the circle, Harvey continued, showing a superior attitude. No thanks, I replied. Why be stubborn, Gary? I'll find another way to make you give up. Harvey finished with a sly grin. With that, I left the conversation. The family dinner didn't end well. On the way back, Laura looked tired. As I was about to bring up the breakup, Nick's urgent call interrupted. Laura, come back quickly. Harvey's not doing well. Meanwhile, Harvey sent Laura a photo. There he was, wearing the suit he designed, sitting atop a skyscraper. Laura, I'll marry you in the next life. I saw Laura turn without hesitation and run towards the skyscraper. My heart ached. I turned around and walked the other way. Back at home, I packed my things. A new notification popped up on the public platform. The legendary romance of a genius painter and a rising fashion star. In the photo, Harvey and Laura were embracing passionately. Those marketing accounts kept pushing it, probably Nick's handiwork. I sighed and rescheduled my flight to 10 p.m. the next day. Near midnight, Laura finally stumbled back home, making me feel uneasy. I dampened a towel and gently wiped her face. Laura grabbed my hand. Hugging me, Gary, Harvey has depression. I was just comforting him. Don't overthink it. Yeah, I know. Back then, Laura was severely depressed because of plagiarism, and I was the one who helped her through it. That time she cut her wrists in the bathroom. I stormed through the rain to her apartment, broke down the door, and carried her, bleeding heavily, to the hospital. I felt a bit dazed, wanting to push her away, but she just held on tighter. Somehow a ring ended up on my finger. Gary, it's an anniversary gift. I looked at the ring, which didn't fit, with a slight bitter smile. The ring was too big, not my size, compared to the grand romantic gestures on the skyscraper. Her words of love to me were just drunken ramblings. Gary, let's get engaged after this competition. Okay? It's almost the end of the year. Let's have a family dinner together. Haven't you said your dad really wants to see me? What gift would he like? Laura? She seemed flustered. She'd never seen me look so forlorn. She was at a loss. I had mentioned several times about taking her home, but Laura always used being busy as an excuse not to go. That family dinner would never happen. I quickly regained my composure. Laura sensed my trembling. She gently patted my back, comforting me. Don't be sad. Today, when Harvey interrogated her, the person she thought of was Gary. Once Harvey's condition stabilized, she'd marry Gary. It's late. Let's get some rest. I turned to go back to my room. Gary, let's celebrate our anniversary tomorrow. Let's just stay home. Okay? Laura pulled up my hand, a bit panicked. I nodded, deciding to have a real conversation tomorrow. The next day, I made a table full of food, but when I opened Laura's room, she was nowhere to be found. Gary, I'm taking Harvey to the hospital for a follow-up. I'll be back to have dinner with you tonight. I quietly waited at the dining table. The food cooled and reheated until late at night, and Laura still hadn't come back. My smile was bitter. I had to go. In the airport lounge, in the last few minutes before boarding, I tried calling Laura, but her phone was off. I opened my phone to see Nick's latest post. It was Harvey, Laura, and Harvey's parents having a joyful family dinner. The caption read, "Our new family member." I liked the post, then found Laura's profile, typed out my message, and sent it. Let's end this. Wishing you and Harvey happiness. I left your ring on the table. Laura, this time I'm not waiting. After sending it, I blocked her and tossed my phone into the airport trash. As soon as I got off the plane, I saw my brother waiting for me at arrivals. David stood there, full of concern. Did you take care of everything? He asked softly. I nodded. Gary, no matter what, welcome home. My brother and I headed home. Our mom's eyes welled up when she saw me. It's good you're home. Meanwhile, Laura furrowed her brow. She'd finally managed to explain everything to Harvey and calm him down. It was already late outside, and after making sure Nick would take care of Harvey, she hurriedly left. At that moment, her mind was consumed by one thought. Gary was still at home waiting for her. She tried to call Gary, only to realize her phone had died. Anxiety crept in. She felt she'd lost something important. Surely Gary would wait for her, he always did. Every time she came home late, he'd be patiently waiting on the sofa, resting only after she arrived. Laura reassured herself, but when she entered the house, she only saw the cold meals. She rushed into Gary's room, finding it empty. Quickly, she charged her phone and saw Gary's message. "Where are you?" she sent, only to receive a red exclamation mark in response. Gary had blocked her. Panic finally set in. She dialed Gary's number frantically, but it was always off. She finally understood the source of her recent unease. Gary had become more understanding, but only because he had stopped caring. Ever since she returned, everything had changed. What went wrong? They were supposed to get married soon. Gary had done so much for her. How could he give up and leave her? No way, they'd get married as soon as the competition was over. Gary would surely wait for her. But I was too overwhelmed to care about Laura, with all the family issues piling up. David managed our family's business, but since Dad passed, he was struggling. Gary, you don't have to work so hard, really. David looked at his brother with a hint of concern in his eyes. Bro, can you set up a meeting with me and Cindy tomorrow? Things can't keep going like this. The cafe had plenty of fashion magazines. Cindy randomly picked one up. It was the latest issue of Fashion Weekly. Merging tradition with modernity is a big task. Cindy's slender fingers flipped casually through the magazine. The first article was about the works of a genius painter, Laura. Her latest piece was a portrait. It depicted the back of a young man. Another piece showed the back of a woman, her figure highlighted by a cheap bow, marked by the passage of time and quite controversial. Coincidentally, the TV was broadcasting the awards ceremony live. Harvey, is that silhouette yours? It looks a lot like Laura's latest work. I declare the two paintings to be matching profile pics for partners. Did you paint the other one? Harvey, standing nearby, readily admitted, laughing. I looked at the camera focused on Laura. She didn't deny it. Plagiarism is the most disgraceful thing in the art world. Yet Laura did the most disgraceful thing for Harvey. A bitter smile crept onto my lips. I really like your designs, but since you're new to this, there's some risk. However, risk and opportunity go hand in hand. I trust you. Let's have a good partnership. My family's fashion brand has always been stuck in the middle, despite all my dad's efforts. At first, I used Jason's name to work with Mike. I plan to return to the company after marrying Laura. I haven't forgotten my father's wish. For Laura, I gave up the design department and came to her city to study business. Just as I was about to leave, the TV in the cafe broke some shocking news. The winning artwork wasn't Laura's. It was another piece signed by Jason. At the awards, Mike was waving his arms. "Gary, I know you're watching. Are you happy now?" Mike looked down, signaling Cindy for help. "Sis, help me," he said eagerly. Cindy turned her head, ignoring his call. "Speak," I said calmly, glancing at him. "Gary, I just didn't want all your hard work to go unnoticed. So, I submitted your work for the competition on your behalf. Harvey tried to claim your glory." Mike's eyes flashed with anger. Now, everyone online is freaking out because Jason and Harvey's works look shockingly similar. Harvey is being exposed now. All his past misdeeds are surfacing. Harvey was responsible for Laura's plagiarism. He sold Laura's paintings to fund his studies abroad. Now that he's famous, the middleman who helped sell the paintings wants a cut. And it seems they couldn't reach an agreement. Don't get mad. I heard you need a partner, so I brought my sis to show our sincerity. We can't give up on our studio. Besides, their combined talent doesn't hold a candle to yours. I know Mike feels bad about what I've been through. A warm feeling spread in my heart. You little punk. 3 days later, at Auction A, the winner must create a piece and part of the proceeds will go to a charity fund. What are you planning to paint? I smiled, looking at the 2 profile pictures. This will do. At the auction, I saw Laura, but Harvey wasn't with her. Gary, so you're Jason, the teacher. I still have that sketch. I've been looking for you. The sketch I left behind was picked up by her, becoming her source of inspiration. Thinking back to that brief encounter, the person before me is no longer the young person from before. The French organizer greeted me, and I responded with a polite smile. Gary, Laura seemed surprised, then remembered something. "I'm sorry." "It's okay." Cindy came over, smiling, giving Laura a challenging look. "Gary, who is she?" I simply extended my hand to Cindy, without saying a word. Taking her hand, I said to Laura, "You should worry more about your fiancé." The auction had more than just paintings. There were antiques too. No matter what I bid on, Laura would outbid me. "Done bidding?" Cindy asked me. "We've got to be mindful of costs. Even if we have money, we shouldn't throw it around." Cindy chuckled as she raised her paddle. Laura, her eyes filled with spite, watched as a Song Dynasty vase's price was driven up tenfold. Cindy secured it in the end. "Just a pretty vase for display?" Laura looked at Cindy, her eyes filled with disdain. "Isn't it a pity to let it gather dust without truly appreciating its aesthetics?" Cindy responded, implying something. "After all, if Jason hadn't turned your paintings into fashion, you might still be an unknown artist. You're tarnishing art." Ignoring her, the auction for my work followed. Laura held her breath. It was another back silhouette, but no longer hers. Cindy gave a signal, silencing the room. Laura clenched her paddle, unable to bid. Cindy's gesture meant she'd outbid no matter the price. Laura paled, realizing she had no means to compete with Cindy financially, no matter how hard she tried. As the auction ended, Cindy and I headed back to the studio. "This vase's pattern fits well with our new fashion theme," Cindy noted. "The jewels and my fashion designs can both draw from this idea." "Yeah, do what you think is best." Thanks to Cindy for being so generous. I smiled at her. "I really liked the drawing you made for me," Cindy whispered in my ear. When I got home, I saw a familiar figure at the door. "Gary," Laura looked at me with a hint of tenderness in her eyes. "What are you doing here?" I looked at her with coldness in my eyes. "I told you, after this competition, let's get married." Laura's eyes showed determination. "Don't you want Harvey anymore?" "I've said it before, Harvey and I are just friends. He's just a patient, like a little brother to me." "Laura, I'm planning to take over the family business. We're on different paths. Harvey's the perfect husband for your circle. Don't come looking for me anymore." "Gary, are you leaving me?" Laura suddenly hugged me from behind, wrapping her arms around my waist. I quietly broke free. Let's not get physical. I'm already engaged to someone else. You're lying. That's impossible. You said you'd wait for me. Gary, my brother's voice called out. He looked at Laura with a hint of hostility. So, this is Laura? I've heard Gary mention you. Why don't you come in? Laura seemed pleased. I sighed but didn't stop them. I told my brother about my experiences over the years. With his vengeful nature, I knew what he intended. But when Laura saw Cindy inside, her face turned a bit pale. Cindy was chatting with my mom, who looked delighted. Hello, Auntie. I'm Laura. My mom nodded kindly, gesturing for her to sit. Auntie, I came here too, but my mom interrupted. Gary, our families have had an engagement plan since childhood. Now that you're home and have met Cindy, I don't have to arrange a meeting for you too. Auntie, don't you want to ask Gary about his wishes? Laura looked at me, holding on to hope.
Cindy also looked at me.
Of course, I want to. I'm not sure how Laura left my house. Cindy appeared a little hesitant. I know you weren't serious. She watched Laura leave. Her empathy turned cold. She had investigated Laura. Everything Laura did was disheartening. I shook my head at her. I meant what I said. I wouldn't have drawn that picture otherwise. Laura was right. Marriage is dictated by family and tradition. We're a good match in every way. I placed a ring in her palm and smiled as I slid it on. Our family started in fashion design. Measuring with the eye is a basic skill. Cindy was a little surprised, taking out another ring from her pocket. It matched mine perfectly. The rings were neither too big nor too small, just right for a pair. That Mike. Cindy was slightly startled. We smiled at each other. Laura exposed Harvey's plagiarism, not just claiming credit for Gary's drawing. His designs were all copied. His startup funds were stolen from selling her sketches' copyrights. After harming himself, he fled abroad. She only discovered, through investigation, that Harvey's talents were all a con. Even his designs were someone else's. Reflecting on the pain of being accused of plagiarism, she had even defended someone like him. Harvey, exposed and shamed, hidden in the shadows. The woman in front ruined his everything. He took his chance, stabbing repeatedly into her palm with a hidden knife. Harvey was arrested and Laura ended up in the hospital. Her tendons were severed, unable to hold a paintbrush again. Laura isolated herself once more. She spent time in the garden, staring at an aged drawing. It showed his silhouette. Nearby, Nick watched his sister, filled with regret. They were wrong, causing her to lose happiness. But it was too late. News of the dual family wedding spread. Cindy and Gary looked like a perfect couple. Once some things are missed, they're lost forever. Laura gazed into the distance. The sun had set. Her son had set as well.